when we want to understand how chiropractic is actually able to change brain function, then this is a really great study to start with. It's a study done with a well-known scientist in the chiropractic universe called Heidi Hovig, and what they did in the study is basically try to measure the amount of activation in different brain areas before an adjustment and after it. Now, what they found out is there were great changes that lasted for a really long time after the adjustment in the prefrontal cortex, which is an area that is associated with complex thinking, with emotions, with basically a lot of execution stuff, which is really fascinating, because what a lot of scientists thought before that study is that the changes had to occur in areas that are not involved in that. So that's pretty cool. You can also see the area down here. Another study that really adds up to that is a study that was also done with Mrs. Hovig. And what they did in this study is that they measured the elbow joint position sense of people. So they laid them down on the floor. They grabbed their arm and gave them a position while the patient's eyes were closed. And then the patients had to match exactly this position. And then they measured how close they came to that original position. What they found out is that people that got adjusted were way better in doing that. So it also tells us that an area called the somatosensory cortex could be involved here, because this is exactly the area that does that. In combination with the cerebellum, of course, nothing really acts alone in the brain. That's what we have to know when it comes to function. And the last study that I want to review here is even more fascinating, which is a study done by Frederick Carrick. A lot of people might know him from the Carrick Institute. He's really involved in functional neurology. And what he did is that he grabbed patients that had an unequal physiological blind spot representation, and what he did with these patients is that he adjusted the C2 vertebra either on the right or the left side, and it affected the physiological blind spot directly. And when we know that the physiological blind spot is actually a result of the thalamus and the somatosensory cortex, as well as the visual cortex, then we know that there's a relationship here that all makes sense. So to sum it all up, those are the studies that should come up when you talk about how chiropractic actually affects the brain. And I hope this helped you as much as it helped me.